go.
Okay, so the tools you're going to need to do soldering. First off, you're going to need some cable and a connector. We're going to do XLRs here, maybe a little 1/4 inch. So obviously you need the cables and connectors. You need an iron. I mentioned in the previous video, this is a nicer iron with a variable temperature. That's certainly preferable. This is a $100 iron, but you can get soldering irons as cheap as $10. I don't know where they start being good, maybe 30, 50 bucks, you know, but I prefer obviously variable temp. Number one item to me is some sort of tool that holds the connector in place when you're working. You'll see it a lot in the video. This is a pan of ice. It is $50. The school has a fair number of them, but not enough for everybody. They're great. I highly recommend this. To me, this is even more important than the iron. You can get little cheap $5 ones that little helping hands on springs. Those will work, but they're not that great. Like, definitely get the pan of ice. The pan of ice is just awesome. It can go in every dimension. It's awesome. Other basic tools. You're going to need, and I'll show you in a moment, something to clean the iron. Preferable is this brass thing here. Every time I'm going to be cleaning my iron constantly of gunk off the tip. But you can do this on a budget with a wet sponge. Will clean the tip very nicely, but it does lower the temperature of the tip whenever it sees wet, and so you have to wait for it to warm back up, which is not very long. You can also do this even cheaper, and some of you will be doing this in class. Just take a piece of paper, maybe from the bathroom, you know, wash paper towels, fold it over and get it wet. That will work as well. Make a little pad. So that cleans your tip. I'm moving this way. You're going to need a tool to strip. I actually prefer these orange ones. They're Palatine tools. I can tell you the exact model number if you're curious. It's about $15, but it's going to let you strip the rubber jacket off the wire. It also will work as a cutter. It's not the best cutter, though. It's really for stripping. You're going to need something to hold wires in place. These little tiny needle nose green jobs, they're great. Again, these are about $10, 15 bucks, and there's cheaper ones out there, but I can get some of like this. You definitely need some cutters. These orange guys will cut, but it's if you want something small and easy, you can get into small places. Don't use these for cutting large things. I try to avoid cutting the big cables with this because it can mess up I can make them dull and mess up the teeth. We're going to be doing solder sucking right away. This cleans. It's called a solder pullet, but it's a little vacuum that sucks solder up. You're going to want that. Some people use this soldering braid to clean up solder. I don't like it at all. I much prefer this. Obviously, you need solder. A lot to say about solder. In the United States, you can still get solder that has lead in it. Lead has a lower melting temperature than non-lead solder, so it is preferable for audio, but it's toxic. In Europe, you can't buy leaded solder anymore. It does work fine, some of the kits. You'll work with both. Lead solder works better, but it's toxic, so maybe non-leaded is better. Either way. And this is kind of an optional tool, but really comes into place a lot of times if you're trying to clean something, or sometimes when we're trying to separate the strain on a cable, a tiny little poker. Be careful. I keep it away from my daughter. You should keep it away from your daughter because it'll poke her. What else to say? I think that's it, right? Good. Obviously, some good light, some good airflow, and some rockin' tunes, and you're ready to solder.